my mother made bread, uh, two, probably twice a week, and so we got good bread. I mean, really good bread. Yeah, yeah, like you. You grew up with real bread. Yeah, you know, if you buy bread, it's just like a water. You know, you can take baker's bread, wad it into a ball about this big, and it, when bakers learned how to make bread that was 28% water, that was and would still hold itself up. That was considered a great thing because water is cheap. Yeah, 28% water apparently was what
Huh.
was in bread. But your bread had actually had flour in it. A couple of times, the flour sacks were made out of fabric. And so she would take that flour sack fabric and wash it and then make us shirts and clothes. And she made a lot of our clothes. For you know, boys don't care that much, so you know, just a shirt to wear. And she would also get clothes and redo them. She, you know, she talks about her family growing up that they would get a missionary barrel, a box from with good clothes in it, and some of it they could wear, and some of it their mother would just refit it, and so all of our clothes were made from a lot of were made from hand-me-downs. Overalls, she we bought, you know, I mean, you know, jeans because those are harder to make. But
So can you tell me a little more what your mother was like?
well, she grew up in a family where there were missionaries. Her grandfather had served a mission in Wales, and Ride, WRIDE, is a Welsh name, and so the Rides came from Wales, and so my mother grew up on a farm as well. She never learned to milk the cow, but she and her older sisters would pick the beans and thin the beets, and you do all of the things that her father raised on his farm in Payson. And so she grew up in an active family. And my father said she's the best thing that ever happened to me because she knew what to expect. You know, you go to church and you do all the things. And so she was always active with the youth. In her patriarchal blessing, it said she would be a mother of sons. So when my oldest sister was born, my dad said, eh. But then there, my mother was happy that it was a daughter, and she said there'll still be time for sons. And then, you know, there were 5 boys in a row. When I was born, she cried. When Greg was born, she cried even more. And when Bruce, my youngest brother, was born, then she really cried. And 5 years after Bruce, she got her second girl. So it was a girl on both ends and 5 boys in the middle. And she was a mother of sons that would honor their priesthood. It says in her patriarchal blessing. If you have the Fillmore book, it has her patriarchal blessing and it has my father's patriarchal blessing in it, which is very nice. And you know, patriarchal blessing aren't just for him. They go to me and to you as well. Those blessings are for you. And And my mother got her patriarchal blessing from her uncle, her father's brother, George Ride, who was a patriarch. And he said, "Dear Gwenny." And so my mother was a lot in primary, and that's what it said. That she would serve the youth, and she was also but taught youth in here. Okay, and so my mother's sister, she had a sister named Mary, and Mary had a son and a daughter, and then twins, and one of the twins died. But she lived in Payson, and we would go there at least once a month. And Aunt Mary was kind of like our grandma, because our grandmas had died by that time. And she was a school teacher, and all three of her children became school teachers. And one of them, the youngest one, Joyce, was a school teacher all her life, and she never married. She was an old maid, but she would tease us when we came. And she had another sister who lived in Idaho, Eloise Swenson. And I went to visit her when I was working up there for one summer. Just a wonderful person. And she had a brother who lived in California. I didn't know him well. And she had a brother who lived in Payson. And so I knew her family better than my father's family, because they weren't close.
So did you get to know your mother's parents very well?
Never. My mother's father died before I was born, and my mother's mother died the year after I was born.